Now this one's almost like a puzzle to try and figure out. We've got 5 elements, and we're going to try and, with our understanding of chemistry, figure out what they are. Now some of them are very easy. For instance, as soon as you look at V and it says it's got a molar mass of 2 grams per mole, there's only one element which has that as a molar mass, and that's hydrogen. So if we then if we carry on, we see that VW is the most reactive member of its group, which contain non-metals. Now that's highly likely that we're talking about fluorine here. And we also notice that X, Y and C are in the same shell, so that means that they're in the same row on the periodic table. So we'll put that bit of information away, and there's one that dissolves in water to give a basic solution that conducts electricity. So that's some kind of ionic solution. And one thing you should know, of course, is that sulfide S2- is a strong base, just as Fe3+ is an acid. Those are things that you just should know. Anyway, so that makes Y sulfur. And we then consider that element X reacts with, now V of course is hydrogen, to form a poisonous gas. Now if there's 3 of those to form that, and there's no charge on this, then that means that we must have the only one in this row that can do that. That's X is going to be phosphorus, so that means X has got to be, so it's going to be pH 3 would be what they're talking about up there. Now that means that X is phosphorus. And then when we're looking at Z, reacts with, now we haven't done V either, have we? So let's have a look at V. V and Z have the same number of valency electrons. Sorry, Z, we haven't done Z. And Z has, where else do we see it? So it's in the same shell, so that means that can only be, it has to have 1, and if it's in with phosphorus and sulfur, it must be sodium. Let's see, and I think we have all of those now. So we need to go through and justify these with all these statements. So for each element, just need to rationalize all of these. So if we go through and look at them in turn, we're just using the information from the table to really say why we came up with that. You know, the fact that hydrogen's got a molar mass of 2 grams. It's got 1 valency electron, which is really the same as sodium. That's we're told. Forms pH 3 with phosphorus, forms HF with fluorine, and forms NaH with sodium. Fluorine, obviously the most reactive non-metal. It's the same number of electrons as sodium, and it forms HF. P, it's the same shell or the energy level as sodium and sulfur, and it forms pH 3, so it must have 5 valence electrons to form those bonds and have a full octet. It's got a higher first ionization energy than sulfur. Now that's something that's not immediately apparent, but if you write out the electron configuration, you'll find that 3p4 and 3p3, so 3p4 would be for sulfur, so it's actually quite easy to remove that because one of the p orbitals has got more electron repulsion, and the 3p3 one for phosphorus makes it higher in ionization energy because we've got stability there with a half full shell. Okay, so that's those ones so far. So with these, I'm really just going through and using information to give and to justify. For instance, with sulfur it forms a basic solution. The X2 indicates that the Y must have had a charge of -2, which we know is 2-, which is a base. It's got a lower first ionization energy, which is surprising because we usually expect the trend to increase, but it's removing an electron from the 4th electron from the 3p orbital, which would be paired, extra repulsion, so it makes it easier. It's got a smaller atomic radius than phosphorus, and the valence electron is in the same shell as sodium and phosphorus, so it must be sulfur. Sodium itself has the same valence electron number as hydrogen. Again, its the valence electrons are in the same shell as phosphorus and sulfur, and it reacts with sulfur to make Na2S, which is that basic solution we're talking about. Got the same number of valence electrons as fluorine, and it reacts with hydrogen to make an ionic solid. So just taking care with those and making sure you give a detailed answer should give you full credit.